and they embrace who they are. They embrace who they want to be, not who they were told they needed to be. And they let go of so much of the messaging that is really what's so heavy. They create a lightness of being in their souls. And when you have that lightness of being, your body becomes lighter. Because, first of all, the stress alone that you let go of allows your body to become lighter.
Thank you so much for joining us on another awesome episode of Bioenergetics Beat. I'm Heather Gray, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner. And this episode is brought to you by Nikki, Unleash the Wellness Within. It's a highly effective approach to wellness, non-invasive, easily affordable, optimized wellness. It's a wearable device that puts frequency better-based life in your hands and on your wrist. Make sure to stick to the very end because we always have an awesome giveaway you're not going to want to miss out on. But you're also not going to want to miss out on one word that my next guest has to say, because we're going to be talking about midlife metamorphosis. And boy, if you guys have been following my story at all, you definitely know I've been going through a big one myself, so this is just a fascinating conversation. And, I don't think a lot of times women's health is talked about enough. I think there's still a lot of women out there that wonder, is what I'm doing, is what I'm feeling, is what I'm going through physically, mentally, spiritually, like a normal thing this time of life, because it's just not really talked about. So I'm excited to dive deeper into this subject with Miss Mindy Gorman-Plutzer. Without further ado, let's welcome her to the show. Yay!
Hi, Heather. I'm so happy to be here with you and to discuss this very much needed topic from perhaps with you a more functional perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. So why don't we start from the beginning? Who is Mindy? What makes you tick? And, why? A lot of times there's a pain to purpose story, why we're talking about this. So I'd love to get into a little bit more of yours.
Absolutely. Well, let me explain Midlife Metamorphosis. Midlife Metamorphosis is my newly published book, Midlife Metamorphosis, The Journey from Diet Culture to Radical Acceptance. And it is basically my love letter to every woman who has traded the size of her life for the size of her body. And I came to this perspective after spending most of my adult life basically in diet culture prison. You know, I had an inner critic that was being catered to by the voice of the perpetuated lies of diet culture, that I wasn't enough unless I was a certain size. So I spent the majority of my adult life either trying to be larger, gain weight, or be smaller, lose weight. And when I was in my 30s, I pretty much hit rock bottom. I found myself, the story I love to tell is, I was counting pieces of penne pasta while I was preparing dinner for my family, making sure that I was sticking within the calorie and carb allotment that I had designated for myself. So I recognized from reading the box that 2 ounces of pasta, serving size, was 30 pieces of penne, so I allowed myself to have 15. So that night at dinner, when I was sitting with my family, my daughters who were tweens at that time, and my husband, I wasn't paying any attention to what they were saying, laughing, talking about. I was counting pieces of pasta. And what I realized in that experience is that I lost precious time that I would never get back. So I decided I was going to seek help. I reached out to a family doctor who had me coming in for weekly weigh-ins and vital checks. I was seeing a therapist once or twice a week. I was seeing a dietitian that had me on a meal plan that was totally ridiculously exorbitant and certainly not in alignment with my very delicate digestive system that was suffering the consequences from years of restricting, binging, and laxative abuse. This was not going to be sustainable at all. So I embarked on a journey of self-discovery, and I took a lot of time. And the sick irony is that in this time I decided to study nutrition. And I got myself a job where at a weight loss center. So here I was profiting from selling the very lies that were holding me hostage. And I can remember the time that I decided I needed to let this go. I was sitting across from a woman very much like me, and probably so much like the women listening to us today, accomplished, beloved by her family and friends. She was a businesswoman, she was a community volunteer, and she was on the verge of tears because she felt like a failure. She was showing up, she was following the plans for maybe days, weeks, and then, of course, that she spiraled back into it not working for her. And I looked down at her client file and I realized this was her third round with me. She had paid me thousands of dollars. She wasn't the problem. The system was the problem. It hit me then so hard that the diet industry is designed for us to fail. It profits from our self-doubt. And that's when I knew it had to change. So I walked away from that career. I walked away from the income and I went back to school. And I was 55 at that time. Another lesson here, you're not too old, you're not too far gone. It's not too late. And I studied health coaching, I studied eating psychology, I studied functional medicine, nutrition. I learned about the psychological and physical damage that chronic dieting does to us. I learned how gut health is the root of so much. I learned about hormonal shifts being biology, not character flaws. And I evolved.
So beautiful. I mean, remember that expression of, I wish I was as fat. So you look at the pictures in your early 20s, right? And you're like, I wish I was as fat as I thought I was back then, right? Because we always thought we were fat. And I look back at those pictures and go, damn, I was hot back then. What was I thinking? And again, all that precious time wasted feeling insecure, judging myself. I mean, again and again, again, the madness. And it is heartbreaking what we are still putting out there in media, in the messages that we're constantly bombarded with, that yes, if you don't fit inside this box, this age range, this weight range, then as a woman you don't have value. And it is heartbreaking. And like I said, I'm so glad that we're having a voice to continue to break this stereotype, because now that I'm 47, right, I'm starting to get to another age, and I'm starting to see this as well, and starting to happen. And it's fascinating and heartbreaking, and just so many things.
Yeah, the first framework, for lack of a better term, that I created with this new education that I had, and as my business evolved from selling diets to teaching women how to stop fearing what food would do to them and start embracing what it could do for them, was what I called 7 steps to stop fearing food. And those 7 steps were basically an acronym for freedom. So find your enough. At the time, this was before my functional training. Rest, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're not, eat mindfully, do something every day to make your body feel alive, only eat whole foods as often as you can, and make sure you surround yourself with what truly nourishes. So all of that was really based off of the education I got from the eating psychology certification. Basically, who are you as an eater? Why are you eating? How are you eating? When are you eating? When I combine that knowledge and that experience, because so much of that came from my own lived experience, when I combine that knowledge with what I learned as a functionally trained nutrition counselor, I was able to really elevate the learning, elevate the knowledge to so much more. So the second step, the rest, became rest and digest. Gut health became a big part of it. And the who are you as an eater evolved as well, because now when I talk about why, I want to know the why behind your why. So that program now has evolved to my 4R freedom method. And what are the 4Rs? And this is truly how I live now every day, what is put forth in midlife metamorphosis, and what I think people need to embrace. So it's recognize, right? Recognize the voice of the inner critic that is perpetuating the lies of diet culture. Reject.
Actually, we're going to take a really quick pause here because you're diving deeper into the kind of the meat and the potatoes than we wanted to before
Okay.
but I love your enthusiasm. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back here in just a minute.
Okay.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health.
It looks like a little watch, but it's actually a frequency device. It's bioenergetic, so it has this little frequency light situation that goes into your arm.
This is my Nikki. It is a bioenergetic wearable that works by emitting a specific frequency carried by a red light, as you can see on the back. It's aimed at enhancing the body's natural healing process to improve wellness and reducing stress, pain, and inflammation. And to select a frequency, you tap it to wake it up, and then you slide to the screens that list the different frequencies. I have wellness or Lyme on mine. So if we want to pick one, we just tap on it and you'll see the circles around, and there's a play button, play areas, tap there, and you can see the colors radiating that show that it's playing. And you would also see the red light on the back. And to stop, you just tap it again, and then you can slide and select a different frequency. I'm going to play afternoon. And you just tap, and away you go for your afternoon.
So they're two different things. You have the Nikki device, and then you have the frequency sets. And so right now they have the wellness set of frequencies and they have the Lyme set of frequencies, and both of them are absolutely incredible. I use both sets on a regular basis, so I absolutely love them.
Nikki Wellness Technology. Delivering frequency enhanced health. We are Nikki.com.
Awesome. Welcome back. I know, like, so excited about this that I think my guest was as well. And we just kept going. I was like, we need to take a break. But so really quick, like, I love the fact that you brought up mindful eating. And so it's so funny, like, even in functional medicine, a lot of times people chase this big, sexy, expensive thing, and it's usually the foundations, right? The simple things that are what really moves the needle the fastest. And I know as a hairstylist for 15 years, my eating habits were horrible because a lot of times I was eating in the car, I was eating in between clients while they were processing, which maybe meant 5 or 10 minutes, just trying to grab a bite wherever I could, whenever I could, which caused a lot of blood sugar spikes and issues, which is causing, this long-term insulin issues, brain fog, all kinds of inflammation. And then, you fast forward to age 47 and then was really having a hard time getting weight off on top of the hormonal stuff and all the crash yo-yo dieting. So it is funny to see how the things that we had done when we were younger kind of catch up to us when we get older. As we're younger, we think that we're invincible and none of that matters. And I've been trying to beat that in nicely to my 22-year-old's head. I was like, you have got to stop with this. I'm starving and I'm shaking. I'm like, you can't let yourself get to that point. You've got to be more mindful of an eater. So I absolutely love the fact that you bring up that point. And so you were talking about the 4Rs?
Yeah. Can I just go back to the
Yeah,
mindful
yeah,
eating?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we just want to be careful when we are talking to women who have been chronic dieters, that mindful eating is not about thinking about food all the time. Right. Right.
Absolutely.
It's about being with your food. It's about experiencing that meal. It's about tasting your food, noting the texture of your food, the temperature of your food. And when you do that, you're able to truly learn and realize when you've had enough, and that allows you to stop when you've had enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so sorry for interrupting you before. Let's jump back into the 4 R's.
Not a problem at all. Yeah, I know sometimes I need to be reminded to take a breath.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So the 4 R's: recognize and reject, recognize and release the voice of the inner critic that is perpetuating the lies of diet culture. Now, those lies of diet culture could be coming from a parent, a grandmother, messages you got on the playground, social media, the misinformation that you're picking up all over that is leading to misguided behavior. Then you want to reclaim. You want to reclaim your worth. You want to reclaim your joy. You want to reclaim your health. You want to reclaim your equilibrium. You want to reclaim the fact that sleep and rest are not luxuries. And then finally, you want to radically accept. You want to radically accept that you are enough right where you are right now. You want to accept that you're not too old, not too far gone, not too late to rewrite your story and become the hero in that story. The hero that is who she was before she was told who she needed to be.
Absolutely. When you talk about recognize, can you go back to that a little bit about some of the misinformation? Can you give us a few examples?
Oh, sure. The simplest one is eat this, don't eat that. The lies that are perpetuated by letting people believe that what worked for them when they were 30, even sometimes 40, is not going to work for them when they're 50, 60. Um, recognize the lies that they need to trade the size of their lives for the size of their body. And the lies that are perpetuated when the one important piece of all this is ignored, and that's you and your uniqueness. That your body is not the same as mine. Your metabolism is not the same as mine. Functional medicine teaches us that everybody is unique and everything matters. That our microbiome is as individual as our fingerprint. And that's what's ignored certainly in today's conventional eating disorder recovery programs. The all foods fit is a lie. Everything in moderation is a lie, because not everybody can tolerate all foods. And the lie that if you're choosing not to eat something because it doesn't make you feel well, you're restricting, that's a lie. That's an empowered choice. I come from the eating disorder recovery world. A lot of what I do is based on what I see there that doesn't work. And the biggest thing that doesn't work is the all foods fit mentality, everything in moderation mentality. That's the biggest lie, because it's not honoring gut health. It's doing basically is feeding one's anxiety.
So how do you work with somebody? I know this is going to be kind of a controversial question,
Mhm.
because I, as a person who struggled with weight off and on my whole life, knowing though that weight is a core morbidity to other health issues, but then trying to get your head around this, right? This healthy eating, this healthy lifestyle, and that your weight is not, your life is not attached to the size of your body. But there is some real health factors tied into obesity. How do you work around that?
Yeah, I love that question, because it's not only about the health issue. There's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to feel better in her body. And if losing weight means she's going to feel better in her body, certainly no shame in that. There's no crime in that. But my work is about helping my clients, the brilliant and accomplished women that I feel blessed to work with, realize that there it's it's all about their relationship to self. And when they look at their relationships to self and they embrace who they are, they embrace who they want to be, not who they were told they needed to be. And they let go of so much of the messaging that is really what's so heavy. They create a lightness of being in their souls. And when you have that lightness of being, your body becomes lighter. Because, first of all, the stress alone that you let go of allows your body to become lighter. Realizing that you can make empowered choices for yourself because of how eating a certain way makes you feel is extremely empowering. Diets are so disempowering. So when I work with someone, number one, it's very individualized. And the first thing I want to do is I want to learn their food story. I want to learn not only their why they want to achieve these goals and what their goals are. I want to know why they're here in the first place, right? What are the behaviors? What are the beliefs that got them to this place? And that's very nuanced, and it's going to be different for everybody.
So when you talk about an individualized approach, how do you necessarily do that around food? I know I heard about the story, but like when it comes to an individual's bio individuality, are you running any kind of labs, or how do you work around that?
If I feel labs are required, I will send them for labs. Being a resident of New York State, I'm very limited as to labs I can order, but I will make referrals for labs, particularly labs that will give me a story about what's happening in the gut. And usually, and I can say this pretty confidently, most women who have struggled with an abusive relationship with food, whether it's restricting or overeating or purging, are going to have significant digestive issues.
Absolutely. How does that show up? What does that look like?
Oh, well, bloat um, shows up as bloat, uh, bowel irregularity, diarrhea, constipation, inflammation. Very often there's a dysregulation in understanding hunger and fullness. So I will very, very often ask for a GI map or a gut zoomer. I find those tests to be really, really wonderfully comprehensive. And we start there. And I also realized that a lot of the work can't be done and a lot of the goals can't be met until we heal the gut. If there's leaky gut, which is also very common, then there could be food sensitivities. So we have to deal with that. So it's very nuanced. It's a progress. It's a process, and it's all about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. Anytime I ran a gut zoomer, I could almost guarantee 10 to 15 pounds gone in the next couple of weeks because it was just amazing how much inflammation that would get off my body. And then I've been doing a lot of work lately in genetics as well, because that whole bio individual approach, I am actually sensitive to caffeine. I am salt sensitive to the wrong kind, especially the kinds used in restaurants. So unfortunately, if I eat out too much, I bloat and I become really painful. So finding these things out through genetics and through these other labs have been really helpful at putting together my story of, oh, I should really never eat dairy because I can't process dairy because of these issues in my genes. So I just find the whole thing, I just love where we're at right now in medicine, where we can actually dial this down and really get pinpoint, pretty individualized with a person instead of this one size fits all model.
Yeah, and Heather, when a woman realizes, excuse me, that she's got these issues, it takes so much of the shame away because we're allowing someone to truly believe that it isn't her fault. It's not about what's wrong with her, or she's broken, or she needs more willpower, or she has to try harder, or she didn't want it badly enough. It gives women a sense of relief, and then we can move forward, empowering way.
Oh, absolutely. It was 2020 and I was trying to lose some weight. And all my colleagues, it was huge. Everybody was talking about keto, 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 keto. So I got on the keto bandwagon and I started gaining weight, and I was in more pain than I had been in before. And thank God I had the education and the background that I do, because then it allowed me to pivot, run a food sensitivity test on me, and I came back that I was food sensitive to almonds and coconut. And
Ah,
what are some of the most common ingredients in a keto diet? Almonds and coconut. So no matter how hard I tried, how much I dialed it in, and I was starting to beat myself up to the point of going crazy, thinking I was just a failure, until I got these lab results back and I literally started to cry. I'm like, this is why keto is not working for me. And then I also did genetics. Turns out that I don't process saturated fat very well. So a keto diet that's really high in saturated fat, my body was like, what are you doing? Like, I can't process this. So having those information absolutely was just like a weight lifted off my shoulders. And it's sad to me because most women don't have the education that I do. They didn't have the access to these labs that I do. So how many people out there who are absolutely turning themselves inside out to do something and not getting anywhere, and then just thinking that it's them and that there's some sort of a failure. So, oh my gosh, thank you for this.
yeah, and then we need to let women know that they are the expert of their experience, and that can lead them to become the master of their healing.
That might be a new concept for a lot of women, because we have been gaslit for so long that our intuition and our experiences are not valid. So that's a whole nother conversation. But I love that once we get, like I said, it was my intuition. It was like, okay, there's something wrong here. I've done what I'm supposed to do. There's something not right here, and I need to dig further. So thank you for bringing that part in, because that's a whole nother lesson that women in general, I think, need to learn.
Yeah, and it's really about learning the difference between the inner critic and the inner wisdom, right? That wisdom has been shut down for so many of us for so long. And, even messages that so many of us got as children, finish everything on your plate.
Oh my gosh.
That tells a child that they're not capable of trusting their hunger. And that translates later on into trusting their needs. Not being able to leave the table until you finish everything on your plate translates later on to not feeling safe in your body, not trusting your body, which translates into not trusting what you need, not being able to ask for what you need. And it's so subtle, yet so insidious.
I had an adult tell me that 2 weeks ago. We were out for dinner and I stop eating when I'm full. And she was like, "You're not going to finish your meal?" I said, "Absolutely not."
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm like looking at her, she's like, she's insane. I'm like, really? I'm 47 years old. Are you really going to give me this lecture right now? Like, no, I listen to my body. Thank you. You listen to yours.
Right. Yeah. But this is what I talk about when I say recognize the voice that isn't yours.
Mm.
It sounds simple, but too many of us have been shut down. Too many of us have told that we need to act a certain way in order to be accepted. And I think generations coming up today are different. I'm 70 years old. I was raised in Ozzie and Harriet land, the 50s, Donna
Mm.
Reed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Women had their specific role. My daughters are 47 and 45, and they have a whole different perspective and are raising their children very differently than I raised them. Thank goodness, you know. So I think there's hope, but I also know that it's up to us because our daughters are watching. They are watching. My
Ooh,
granddaughters are
goosebumps.
watching my daughters. And it's very, very important that we let women know that they have a voice. Their self-worth is not tied to willpower. They can make empowered choices for themselves. There's no shame in wanting to be leaner and stronger. And, we have to also, what bothers me a lot personally and professionally, back to the conventional eating disorder recovery philosophy is the health at every size mentality, because that allows a lot of women to give up.
Thank you. Yes.
When I say radically accept, I don't mean give up. I mean accept things the way they are, but know that you can rewrite the story.
Can I get an amen? Mic drop. Great job. Awesome. So this is the shameless plug time of the show. So where can people find out more about you and get more information?
Well, Mindy at thefreedompromise.com. Thefreedompromise.com is my website. On Instagram, I am at thefreedompromise. And my new book, Midlife Metamorphosis, The Journey from Diet Culture to Radical Acceptance, is available on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, anywhere you buy your books. My first book, The Freedom Promise, 7 Steps to Stop Fearing What Food Will Do to You, is also available on Amazon. And find my newly released podcast, Soul Shift, where modern science, ancient wisdom, and real life align. And Heather, I'd love to have you as a guest.
I would love to be a guest. It's been a minute since I've been interviewed, but yeah, I would love to. So let's set that up.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So while you're checking out the show notes for Mindy's information, make sure to also visit wearenikki.com/podcast and enter in BioBeats to get 10% off your own Nikki device. But the way we show our appreciation, because we love our customers so much, we give away a free Nikki device and a wellness suite of frequencies, a $598 value on every single show. So make sure to go to the show notes. Good luck. Tune in every week to BioBeats and make sure to have a healthy day. Thanks again.
What is the wellness store, you ask? Let me tell you. Imagine a single place where every Nikki Wellness program, present and future, are ready whenever you are. The Nikki Wellness Store turns that vision into reality, offering a membership that keeps you connected to the most complete library of wellness support programs we've ever created. One membership, infinite access. With a Nikki Wellness Store membership, unlimited access to the full Nikki Wellness library, automatic updates as new programs are released, the freedom to create personalized daily playlists on the Nikki Connect app, and we continually design new programs. Your membership will grow with you at no additional cost. Because wellness technology never stops improving, and neither do you. It's more than a membership. Every wellness store membership begins with the purchase of their Nikki Wellness Technology, a wearable device that delivers wellness programs wherever life takes you. Your membership includes 1 full year of unlimited access to the complete wellness library and all future program releases. After the first year, your access continues with a simple annual renewal fee, so your library and collaborations with trusted global innovators keeps growing without interruption. This isn't just an upward, it's a movement toward a future where wellness technology never stops improving, because neither do you. Join the movement. The Nikki Wellness Store isn't just a milestone, it's the future of wellness designed for freedom, value, and constant growth. With our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, new customers that join us will automatically get 1 year membership to the Nikki Wellness Store. Current customers that have already owned a Nikki, you will be grandfathered in and given a 2-year membership. And that's a thank you for walking with us for all this time. Our Black Friday, Cyber Monday special that we're going to be offering is a way to launch you into Nikki Wellness Technology. You can purchase a Nikki Wellness device for $299. You will receive 2 exclusive Black Friday, Cyber Monday wellness programs. Those are our Vitality and our Vagus Nerve Daily. You will always have access to those, even once the wellness store launches. And you will also get your 1 year membership. For customers that have already owned a Nikki, you will get a 2-year membership to the wellness store, and we will be reaching out to you on how to set up your access to the wellness store in December. You also have the choice to purchase our Black Friday, Cyber Monday exclusive wellness programs. They will be $99, and you will receive the Vitality and our Vagus Nerve Daily program.
The views, information, and opinions expressed in this content are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Free Medica. Premedica Technologies Inc. and its employees are not responsible, nor verifies accuracy any of the information contained in the following content. The primary purpose of this content is to educate and inform. This content does not constitute medical or other professional advice or services.